sports fans. Welcome back to ASMR Sports. We are knee deep in the NBA playoffs, and I was just thinking to myself, it is a fantastic playoff season for the hobby, I think. Notwithstanding the fact that, pretty much all sports cards are dead. Completely dead, in my view. All modern sports cards, I will say, are completely dead. It's just about impossible to make a card go up in value these days. Used to be a guy has a hot week in whatever sport, and there's just a ton of interest in their cards. Now, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, I'm not really sure what makes cards go up. I guess the same sorts of things make cards go up, but they basically, instead of going up, they just stop dropping in price. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, it's like the hot cards are the ones that are not losing value on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and every other card is losing value on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So, with that depressing commentary in mind, I was thinking that, what happens a lot, I find, in the NBA playoff season is the teams with the kind of the really young talent, some of the more popular big names. For example, when Zion Williamson came into the league, he was having trouble staying on the court, but his Pelicans weren't really doing much either. So those sorts of teams, like Ja Morant is another example. When before all of his troubles, he was the hottest game in town. The Grizzlies weren't really gonna ever make a serious run, and that's a pretty natural thing, because a lot of times those really good players are drafted by teams that have played pretty poorly, and therefore earned the right to those high draft picks to get those young players on the team. So it's a pretty natural thing for this phenomenon of the brightest young players, like Wembanyama, for example, another example. His team to not do well in the playoffs, and of course the Spurs never really were in serious contention for playoffs. So anyways, that is something that I've noticed, that we all probably have noticed for many years. And this year, what we're starting to see is a lot of the guys that were big, huge names in the past, I don't know, 6-7 years worth of draft classes are now kind of coming into their own. So the Magic just got eliminated, but Paolo Banchero was a big name in his draft class a couple years ago, and a few years ago, and to see him in the playoffs is a pretty big deal. I think back in the olden days, again, when a good week, or even a first round playoff appearance for a young rookie would drive values nuts. That would have been a pretty big deal to see a guy like Paulo show up in the playoffs, and the Magic, that went to a game 7, so that was a perfectly good, exciting, interesting series. But ultimately they lost. But just the fact that somebody who is that prominent in his draft class showing out in the playoffs is a good thing. And then I look at all the other teams that are still in the playoffs, and just about all of them have a huge kind of name that was a rookie from let's say 2017, and more recent. So 2017, you've got Donovan Mitchell, playing the Cavaliers right now, and Darius Garland from 2019, Luka Doncic. You know, these guys have threatened for a long time. They've certainly gotten to where they are now in the playoffs, which is the second round. You know, a good handful of times since he came into the league, so it's not quite, you know, where we're breaking new territory for the Mavericks and Luka Doncic yet. But the fact that he's, you know, threatening to make a run is pretty cool. And then Anthony Edwards is, I think, probably the biggest story because he's, you know, on the top seed in his, you know, his half of the league with the Wolves, who have had a fantastic season, and I think have, you know, been very impressive in their first round of the playoffs. And he is, you know, I think being recognized as a really a face of the future for the NBA. So, like, you know, he's still in it, Luka's still in it, Donovan Mitchell is still in it. Then you got Jason Tatum, also from that 2017 draft class. On the Celtics, you've got, I mean, the Knicks are, I guess, maybe kind of an example of where this theory doesn't, you know, hold too much weight, just because their big star is, oh gosh, what's his name? The guy who was on the Mavs. It'll come to me, but anyways, he was, you know, not really, he was not really like a top pick in his draft class. I think he was like pretty good, but Jalen Brunson is who I'm talking about, and you know, he kind of came into his own, like, really in his last season with the Mavericks. Was actually a pretty special player, but with the Knicks has been like freaking something else. I mean, this guy is just going off on a nightly basis. Actually, as I record this, the Knicks are in the final seconds of their game against the Pacers in the first round of the first game of the second round. So there will be a winner here. Actually, I'm just looking at the not the game itself, but like a little scoreboard thing that's updating in real time. So he may be off to another great start here in the second round against the Pacers, but it just seems to me that, like, everywhere, almost all of the teams have like and Jalen Brunson was, I think, in the 18-19 class, so he was in the same one as Luka Doncic. So still a pretty new. I mean, again, he wasn't like a huge name out the box in his draft class, but still is a relatively recent, you know, graduate of the college system. And so, anyways, you know, the Knicks may be one of the teams with, like, sort of the lack of a huge, you know, draft class star. But the Pacers, they're playing, like, they have Tyrese Halliburton, you know, who's been playing well, and it seems like every team has, you know, some big name basically from 2017 draft class onward. And I feel like every other year for the past, like, several years, there's only like maybe one or two teams that have like I think somebody who's got a potential to be a big hobby star. You know, often it's you know, it's the Bucks and Giannis, right, threatening to make another deep run into the playoffs. You know, lately it's been Tatum, who's been, it seems like the best outcome, I think, for the hobby, you know, for a big hobby star to win the playoffs. But this year it just seems like there's more, you know, with Edwards, with Luka, with Tatum, with Spida, Mitchell, and you know, so many others. So I don't know. For me, it's still, I guess, pretty early here too. So maybe some of these teams with the big names will get bounced here yet in the second round. But it seems to me like the most interesting playoffs for, like, hobby important stars in a long while. So observation. Anyways, on to part 2 of this video. I was asking myself, and actually I had a customer of hotcardboard.com, sort of asking what I had for 2020 basketball products, because of course that those products feature rookie cards of our friend Ant Edwards, forthcoming like megastar in the NBA and possibly an NBA champion at the end of this playoff season. So as I look, the Knicks did pull it off, so that's pretty awesome. I used to be a big Knicks fan, like when I was a kid, like back in the kind of late 80s, early 90s, and that was just a prescription for pain. That has caused me to sort of move off of them, and I was a Patrick Ewing fan, so like, yeah, it's been a long time since anybody on that team has really captured my attention, but I don't know, I'm a Yankees fan, so I always gotta root for the New York teams and other sports if I can. So I would love to see the Knicks do damage in this playoffs. But anyways, so somebody was asking me what I had for 2020 basketball products, and I knew I have like some bigger ticket items, like I have Prism Hobby. But I suspected and I remembered that I had lots of other stuff, but I just had to sort of go dig it out. So I've gone ahead and dug it out and thought I would show you guys, and I actually am probably going to try to get most of this stuff on my site, hotcardboard.com, in case anybody's interested in purchasing. And I thought what I might do is actually look up like kind of the values this stuff is going for, because what I think we'll see is it's actually, a lot of this stuff is selling for less than what I paid for it back in 2020. And in the case of all this retail stuff, you're going to see, I was paying MSRP. So the fact that, the products with rookie cards of Anthony Edwards are selling for less now than they were back in 2020, tells you something about the state of the hobby, which I have, heretofore described as very, very bleak, at least for modern stuff, which, I don't relish in. I have a lot of modern cards in all sports, and I would love to see the hobby do better, but it's very clearly not doing well right now, and prices on everything are just sort of depressed and getting more depressed, and it's a kind of a bummer, but I try not to get down about it. And for the moment, I'm basically like spending like probably 90% of my effort and capital on older stuff, older unopened stuff, which has always been a real passion area of interest for me. So yeah, that's where we're at. So without further ado, here's part 2, which is the sort of laundry list of 2020 basketball products that I have, and then at the end I'll probably pick something to open up, maybe one of these retail jobs here. But Chronicles, always been a pretty big Chronicles fan. It's been kind of overprinted, in the last several years, but still a blast to open, because you get all the different, brands, subsets in Chronicles products, and gives you lots of chances to get rookies of, anybody you're looking for. In this case, I guess it's just Anthony Edwards. I don't know what LaMelo Ball did last season. I think he was injured for a bunch and then didn't really do much when he was on the court, but I may be completely wrong about that. So yeah, primarily you're looking for Ant Edwards, but this is a hanger box, so that's format number 1 of Chronicles that I have. I think these things sold for like $14.95, maybe $9.95 back in the day. And then you got the hanger packs. These are 15 cards, and all of the Chronicles retail formats have like sort of exclusive items. And these hangers, it's score subset cards. They call them inserts. And then this one says base classics. I don't know what that is. I guess, well, we would find out if we open those. But anyways, and then like third format of this stuff I have is mega boxes here, and these have teal parallels. Is their unique, exclusive item, which in that case is a parallel. So there you go, bunch of Chronicles. I think these things were like $50 back in the day. These were probably like $6.99 or $7.99. Now I want to switch us over here. To a web browser. There was the Knicks score I was watching. Let's see. I don't know if they're gonna have any of these items because these are all retail, and sometimes Blow It doesn't have like too many. All right, sorry for the technical difficulties there. I had a little wonkiness in my streaming program, but let's see here. Oh, looks like I need to close the window here. Okay, back to all right. So let's see what they've got here at Blow It. So they have actually they have like cases of all the retail stuff. Oh, and they do have individual items. So looks like they had the hanger boxes for 1977, which is, I guess, more than I paid for them. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for these, but I think it was like $15. It might have been $10. And then they also have mega boxes for $80, and again, I think they were $50 at retail. So maybe there's some profit to be had here with this stuff. Here's 2019. I got a mountain of that stuff that I wish I didn't. I was gonna see if they have blasters. Yeah, blasters are 20. Do I have blasters? Yep, I do have blasters. So blasters, they've got a $24.95, and I forget. There's the blasters. These have pink parallels right there. They're exclusive. Yeah, so at some point, like it was somewhere in like 2020 or 2021, I think Panini like basically changed the price of all their standard blaster products from like $19.99, which it was for many years, to like $24.99 or I think $24.99 or $29.99. So the blasters may, oh boy, not what I want to do. The blasters may be sort of the same price as they were at retail. Okay. Here we've got Mosaic, 2020 Mosaic hangers, always a fun rip. I feel they have exclusive orange reactive prisms, which are pretty cool looking. I think this price I put on there, I was selling these like maybe like 3-4 months ago or something like that on a live stream that I did. I think that's what that was from. And that was probably a price that reflected the kind of, current, market at that point. So let's go back over again. I think actually one other thing I have is I got a hanger, or these are value packs of 2020 Mosaic. So those are the only formats of Mosaic that I have. I feel like once upon a time I used to have a hobby box, but I sold that a long time ago. So let's look up 2020 Mosaic products over at our friends. Okay, so they have. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I was looking for this guy right here. This is the multi-pack, so $25 is what they have on them. Wait a minute, that's 2019. Guess they have 2019 value packs, but not 2020, so we're not going to get a comp, unfortunately. Alright. Do they have these hanger boxes? I feel like they're not going to have them. Blasters, $50. So that would definitely be a premium over their MSRP. But yeah, nothing else. So I don't know. I suspect that probably the values of these other retail items for Mosaic are probably, or that the comps currently are more than their retail. So, all right, let's do this one next. This is kind of an interesting product. So this is 2020 Select, and I was a big fan of Select once upon a time. I still think it's okay, but what they did when they came out with Select Retail, which was new in 2020, they kind of made it a different product than the standard Select that we were all used to in hobby products. They basically made all of the cards blue colored instead of the just normal cards that come in hobby. And yeah, I don't know, a lot of people really just did not like it. It wasn't very collectible, not very valuable, and it's just sort of a different product than Select, when all of the base cards are different than the base cards in the the standard hobby product formats. So yeah, so anyways, I ended up buying a bunch of this stuff because I was not really expecting the market to be so unkind to it. But I did not get these at retail. I got these in the aftermarket. Basically going on eBay and buying up, like, when people had like multi-box lots of the stuff. I would just try to pick up bunches at a time, and I ended up averaging, if I recall, about $50 a box for this stuff. And you're like, holy smokes, you're crazy, dude. But this was 2020. You gotta realize when pretty much everything like went up as soon as it came out and just didn't ever stop. And I'm slightly happy to see that these are actually selling for $50 now, at least at Blowout. So maybe they're worth roughly what I paid for them back in 2020, which I'm sure is thanks primarily to the run that Ant Edwards is having in the playoffs right now. Alright, so I don't know if I'm going to look up everything at this point. This video is going to be like 10 hours long if I did that, and I don't really have that much time. So I'm just going to kind of run through some stuff right now. I think it's time to get to the Prism. Boy, how can I get myself some more screen real estate? There we go. So, I have lots of Prism. Not too many of these, but I've got a handful of these. These are just the standard retail blasters. Oh wow. I guess Prism's always done that. So they say one auto or memorabilia card, but chances are pretty much 99% it's a memorabilia card. But if I recall opening Prism blasters, like especially from 2018, those memorabilia cards were usually rookies, so maybe there's some good potential there. So anyways, that's blasters of Prism. Also have hobby boxes. I bought a case of these for like $25,000 back in 2020. One of my worst moves ever, but it's slowly getting better. I think these were down to probably like $800 a box at some point. And now I'm glad I have them, but I'm still regretful I paid that much. I mean, that was pretty much the height of the market. I mean, I feel like my purchase was like directly at the height of the market when Prism basketball boxes were going for $2,000 plus. Basically, it's like $2,100 per box. Yeah. So yeah, I still have, I don't know, I think I have like 7 of these left now. Just sold one for $1,150. I think there's one more on my site available at that price. And these are going for like $1,400 or so on Blowout, if I recall from when I looked them up just a couple days ago. So more Prism, lots of Prism. I'm a huge fan of fast break Prisms, so I always try to get at least a box, usually a couple boxes of fast break Prism basketball every year. just kind of keep my run going. And this was the 2020. These were not cheap either. Back when I bought them, I probably paid like, geez, $800 or something for them. And I doubt they're worth that right now. With the hobby at about $1,400 on blowout. But anyways, I got them, so they're here. Very similar, because it's the same size box, is retail. These are worth much less than the fast breaks because they have pretty much no colored / numbered prisms except pink pulsars, which are like impossible to pull. And I think you generally do get one autograph. Yeah, one autograph and 12 prisms, so that's guaranteed autograph in these boxes. And then of course there's always, silver prisms, which are collectible, highly collectible for rookies. So, yeah, these are much cheaper than the blowouts, or the fast breaks. And then the last prism product I have is, I can't remember where I got this. It might have been from my distributor, but yeah, this is a box of the multi-packs, the packs like this. But these are mosaic and these are prism. And these would have the red, white, blue prisms that come in these multi-pack or value pack hangers that some people are a fan of, some people hate them. But anyways, it's a retail product. And that's the last of the prism items I have, and then I have a few kind of wonky things. I remember buying these very clearly because, again, it was 2020, and everybody was, looking to buy anything they could get at MSRP or even close to it, and Walmart, I remember, had these. These are Illusions retail boxes. They had them for like $100 a piece. And I think MSRP on these was probably a little bit less than that. It was probably like $80 or $90, but $100 for any kind of box, retail or whatever, back in 2020 was like, you gotta snap that up right away. So I bought like 20 of these effing things. And yeah, Illusions, suffice to say, is not a fan favorite. So these have been these dropped significantly in value, since purchase. I haven't looked. These might be one where I looked them up. I bet they're about $100 right now at blowout. So we're gonna look these up just for our own gratification here. Alright, so I think... Okay, I thought this mega box was going to be it, but it's not. This is, obviously a different product. So, okay, so they don't seem to have the retail boxes, in stock, but I have to feel like if the mega boxes are $100 right here, the retails should be going for a little bit more than those. Those are 6 cards per pack, 10 packs, and the retail boxes here are 6 cards per pack, so that's the same plus, and then 20 packs per box, so you get twice as many cards in these retail boxes as the mega boxes. I gotta think these are worth over $100 at this point, which makes me happy. If I could just get 2021 basketball stuff to get a superstar coming out of that class, I'd be in business. I got a lot of 2021 basketball that I'm really afraid is only going to be losing value in time, and it's already lost a lot of value from when I bought most of it. Alright, the last product we have is Flux, and this box got a little bit smashed up at some point, so I'm probably going to open this, and then I'm not going to lie to you, I dropped this pack on the floor when I was putting all this stuff together. So may have damaged cards in there, so I'll probably open that one. And then this Flux one and see if we can get hopefully some undamaged. And Edwards cards, rookie cards out of these guys. So let's get down to it. I hope everybody's still with me here. Oops, I keep pressing the wrong button to get back to the camera, but all right. So let's do this. Let's get some Anthony Edwards cards, guys. Gosh, I'm trying to think if I opened any Flux 2020. I feel like I got like 2 hobby boxes of this stuff from my distributor, and I might have opened one of them, but I might be hallucinating. Probably looked that up. I searched my channel. Some kind of like malfunction in the packaging machine when these were made, because I got like 150 security stickers in a single box. That's crazy. Well, if anybody wants those, let me know. You can stick them on your friends that go to Walmart and watch with hilarity as they get lots of beeping noises. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. Yeah, I know I opened some of this before. This design is really striking and memorable and horrible. If I can use 3 words. Udoka as a bouquet. Drew also 3 cards per pack, man. Some kind of insert coming out. Malachi Flynn and Fred Van Fleet. Deja Vu. Brandon Ingram. Oh, I think we got a blue parallel. Chris Levert, Westbrook, and Chris Boucher. Is this going to be numbered? It's not, so it is some kind of parallel. It just looks like a blue prism, but not numbered. Kendrick Nunn. All right, Reggie Bullock. This is a Mojo parallel. Is it Roby? Is this going to be numbered? It's not. So we're getting some parallels for sure, but nothing numbered. Not unusual for retail. Mason Plumlee, Isaac Okoro, and Oscar Robinson. Hall of Famer, legend. Jaylen Brown, another one of these mosaics, or not mosaics, Mojo parallels. Andrew Shemet this time. And Devin Booker, who's the closest thing to like a current star I think we've gotten. So pretty lackluster pack there, or box. seem to be loaded with. They feature a good number of star players as well, more than any other product. So I'm always happy to get some Luka card I don't have. All right, Jeremiah Grant, Desmond Bain, Luka, just the Chronicles there. R.J. Hampton, Rudy Gobert now with the Wolves. So right now the Nuggets, the Nuggets are a great example of a team that, in my view, has no hobby stars on it, because the big guy, I think he's just not a hobby relevant player in my view. Jokic is who I'm talking about, and he's good. He wins MVPs like they're going out of style, but his cards aren't worth very much. Nobody really collects him. He's not interesting to the hobby, and he's kind of like I think like a pitcher in baseball. Like, it doesn't matter how good he is, he's just not going to be interesting to the hobby because of the style of his game. The fact that he's a big man, he plays center, so there's sort of a cap, I think, on how hobby relevant you can be at that position, with a few exceptions sometimes, like Shaquille O'Neal and stuff like that. But the Nuggets are always they're always a threat because of him, to win the whole friggin' thing. And I feel like I'm always like worried, which is exactly what happened last year. Is right. They just powered their way through, and then what is Jokic winning a championship going to do for the hobby? Absolutely zero. So I feel like what I'm always like fearing will happen in the playoffs, NBA playoffs, the last few years. And I'm less worried about that this year, because I think there's a lot of really good competition that from teams that have hobby relevant stars. And I'm not saying this is the way it should be. I'm not saying this is the best, the best that the hobby has it right. I'm just telling you, from a hobby perspective, there certainly are players that are more valuable. I mean, this is the way it's always been, and this is the way it is in all sports. There's fantastic players in all sports that just do not get hobby love. But if you're a general manager in the league, you're probably paying, willing to pay like major dollars to certain players. I mean, Rudy Gobert is kind of an example of that. I mean, this guy's like one of the best big men in the league in the last since he's been in the league, and nobody gives a crap about this guy from a hobby perspective. But would I love to have this guy on my team? Absolutely. It's just the way it is. So I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying that's the way it is. And anyways, I was thinking the other day, it's going to be very interesting to see how like the Mavs line up against one of these teams with like elite big men, like the Wolves with Gobert, or the Nuggets with Jokic, or I'm trying to think of the other teams that have like elite big men that are still in the playoffs. I'm not thinking of any, but I don't know. That's, I think, always been a weakness for the Mavericks, as they've not really had like the kind of talent that you need to go up against those guys. So they end up just kind of getting rolled over now. And now they have a couple of guys that split like center for them. Young upstart, what's his name? I forget his name, but he's a young kid. Seems to have a lot of energy, very active, and has done a good job so far. Derek Lively, so I'm talking about, and will he be able to guard a guy like this, or score over him consistently when you need those kind of buckets in the post? I don't know, and then Daniel Gafford is the other guy that the Mavericks have. He's experienced, and so far pretty dang impressive. quarterbacks. There's James Harden, Jason Tate, Zion, Luminance, Donovan Mitchell, the Cavaliers now, Killian Hayes, there's the guy himself, Nikola Jokic, Jason Tate, Rookies and Stars, James Wiseman. So when this stuff came out, he was one of the top guys, but hasn't really done a whole lot to date. RJ Hampton. So we did not get any Anthony Edwards rookie cards, which is kind of a bummer, but we tried, and I hope you guys found yourselves not bored to death, or maybe bored to death in a good way, and relaxed, listening to my ramblings about the NBA playoffs and 2020 NBA basketball products. Alright, so we got for today, folks. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. We'll catch you all next time. You have a great one.